Ooh. You died, Anthony.
You saw that?
Yeah, I just look up in my mirror and see that.
searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah.
Back in February, there were plenty of cars that by this time of the year wanted to be great. Unfortunately, that group is down to 8, and some of those 8 have pretty much already been eliminated. And tonight, we crown a champion for the 2023 Sim500 NC811.org Grand National Series, and we do it in Sin City on a sim game, if you will. iRacing and Las Vegas Motor Speedway virtually is here, ready to go for a little less than 180 miles of racing in the final race of the season tonight. We welcome you into Vegas. I am the captain, as always, on this Sunday evening as we get ready to go here in the B cars, or the Xfinity cars, or the Grand National cars. We've been calling them all season long. But I think we're in for a good show, as Las Vegas always puts on great racing. We're going to see some slick racing. We're going to see a spread out track. We're going to see looseness. We're going to see cars getting tight. One thing's for sure, I don't think we're going to see many cautions because, well, that's just the way the season has gone in these B cars. And also, it's Vegas, which somehow always produces fantastic racing. Let's take a look at the point standings as qualifying about to kick off here in just a second. And you're going to see pretty much it is all but clinched for Pedro Mojica. He's got a 19-point lead, and the grid is a little less than 25 cars. So there's still a chance for Chad Coleman, pretty much, to win this championship. Otherwise, it is Pedro Mojica's to go out there and clinch here tonight. Stefan Marinick, with maybe a couple of little things and a last-place finish from Pedro, could win this championship, but it looks like a two-man show when it is all said and done. But that's why they run the race. So that is where we're at right now as we go into qualifying here. And a big shout out to our good friends at 811. Of course, know it's below. Call before you dig, as they sponsor the Pole Award throughout the season. And we appreciate what they do for Sim500. Not only that, but for the sport of racing. All right, cars are out on track right now for their 2 laps as Wesley Donaldson going to be the first car we track here in the WBD diecast. Number 91. As he rolls right on the bottom, he's giving the loose over the bumps. I think that's going to be the one word everybody has to watch this evening, the bumps. Over in turn 1 and 2 where the, of course, the tunnel comes over the track. You see him, he's already thrown away that first lap, going to the top side to try to carry the momentum back to the line for a second lap. And right now, Joe Hudson on the pole, up Doy Woods up to a 31 flat. Hudson's second right now, Jatina third, Bobby Wetzel fourth. And Mojica up to 5th right now. Let's see what Wetzel does right now in the City Chevrolet number 9 as he crosses the stripe. Should be a little faster here, 30.91. Let's see what the guy that is likely going to win his second consecutive Grand National Championship tonight. What he can do is Jatina goes 30.86 up there, P2. Tommy Ryan, 30.84 goes to the top. As Mojica crosses the line, he goes P4, 30.88. Let's see what the leading pole sitter in Sim 500 history can do. Tyler Dalton goes to the top with a 30.80. He's going to thank me later because I congratulated him on the pole before I went on the air. And he said, no, I don't think so tonight, bud. No, really. Got a couple other cars still out there. Let's check on Calantoni here, the 84 car. The Talking Giants Camaro. As Glenn Campbell jumps up to a 30.92 in P8. Calantoni P2, 30.82. Good lap for him. Still got a couple cars out there. Jeff Ryan and John Higman. Here's the 60 car out on track as we have a little over a minute and a half to go, so they'll be able to finish their laps at least. Everybody playing two for the most part, getting those tire pressures up to temp. As Higman will come across the line, clips the grass there. Hope that didn't hurt his time. It did not. 30.95. And it looks like will be his recorded time there. Tommy Ryan, a 31.06. So, yep, he's done it again. Tyler Dalton on the pole here this evening for this race. And I'm going to pick on him now since he said what he said to me just a minute ago. I told you good pole, and yet you didn't listen to me.
Yeah, the lap honestly felt a little bit slow. Didn't think it had that speed in it, but I'll take it.
Well, obviously, tonight, not eligible for the championship, but a win that is possible there in front of you. What do you need to do?
Yeah, tonight's going to be interesting. Thing would definitely get loose if you abuse the left rear tire, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be interesting to see which lane becomes the dominant one, because I think you can run both after about 10 laps.
How's the car over the bumps?
You don't really feel the bumps. You maybe bottom out a little bit into one, but overall the bumps don't feel that bad.
There you go. Well, nice job, Tyler. Congratulations on the pole.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Tyler Dalton on the pole as we are going to grid for the race. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here. As Tyler Dalton edges out Calantoni by 200, as Mr. Coleman said. Tommy Ryan qualifying third alongside Wesley Donaldson there. Joey Jettina and Pedro Mojica. Pretty much, let's see, 24 cars. So he just needs a couple people to fall out, and the championship will be his. But knowing Pedro, he's going to go for it tonight. Nothing wrong with that. Joe Hudson and Bobby Wetzel in row 4. Row 5, Glenn Campbell, Steve Ritter. John Higman Jr., Chad Coleman there in row number 6. Row 7 is Doy Woods and Jeff Ryan. Scott Simley, Mike Kelly there in row number 8. Row 9, Seth Foudy and Mike Montesi. Randy Oakham, Doug Simgen in row 10. Brian Wertman, Gerald Livingston in row 12. And a new name for me to mention, Joshua Nortonton. I believe it's how that's pronounced. 23rd alongside George Rincon. And the cars will roll off here in just a moment. And let's grab the potential man of the hour here. Or hour and a half or so, likely. As Pedro joins us here. Pedro, of course, you start 6th here this evening. And the championship there, right in your grasp. Obviously, you need a couple of little things to happen. But needless to say, it's pretty much down to you and Chad for the championship, if anything does happen to you tonight.
Yeah, no, just gotta come out here and just do what we've always done all year. Just be smart, man. That's the biggest thing. Just be smart. Don't do nothing dumb. Just do what we've been doing all year. And we'll take this trophy home with us.
How's track been treating you?
It's been loose. It's a really loose setup tonight, so that'll be interesting to see. It's probably going to be we're going to have long green flag runs, if not go green the whole way. So if that's the case, it's going to be a handful for everybody. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's I like this track a lot. So it's one of my favorite tracks. And then the setup's challenging, so it'll be fun.
Last question before I let you go here. Fuel mileage, obviously 110 lap race, 55, no problem at all?
Yeah, we should be able to make it on one stop. So I think we're fine.
All right, my man. Well, hey, best of luck here, and we'll talk a little bit.
All right, thanks.
All right, buddy. As Pedro Mojica starting P6 right now, and he said the track's a little slickery, so looking forward to seeing the action here on the track. And as he mentioned, usually those loose race setups are usually the best races you can find here. The iRacing default weather is always in this series, so 79 degrees, 53% humidity under partly cloudy skies, 110 laps, as I mentioned, which is like 175 miles or something like that. I don't remember the exact number. In the race, track temp 127, so it is going to probably get up to about 140 before it's over with. So yes, it is going to be slick. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. The final race of 2023 on Sunday night for the Grand National Series. Green from Vegas. Tyler Dalton, Anthony Calantoni on the front row as Tyler clears inside. Brings Tommy Ryan with him. Multi-banking track. Progressive banking, otherwise known as. 18 degrees at the bottom, 19 degrees in the middle, 20 at the top. It's going to allow this car to move around a little bit. And it's going to produce a lot of draft with the speeds here being pretty fast as Dalton leads lap 1. You'll see the P's next to everybody's name that is still in the top 8 in points. But with 22 cars now taking the grid, so it is official that Pedro and Chad Coleman are the 2 drivers that are now racing for this championship. And for Chad to get to Pedro, he's going to need everything to happen. As in, he lead every lap and win this race. Pedro to wreck out without leading a lap. And an asteroid probably to fall on Earth. Already sending it 3 wide here is, I think that's Pedro down there in the bottom in that 58 car. Him and Campbell have identical paint schemes. Joe Hudson has an interesting number 15 car on there, I'd say. Top 7 or 8 here spread out from 10th place Bobby Wetzel there. He's got help with Chad Coleman, Doy Woods there behind them. Pedro looking underneath of Wesley there. That's for the 5th position. Pedro moves up. Glenn Campbell goes with him there to the 6th position. So a little bit of tire savior I think is going to come into play also. You heard Tyler talk about burning the right rear off the car. So you got to be very careful. Turn 3, very notorious for getting a little free, especially center off. Very interesting corner also at the same time. There's Coleman going inside of Wetzel. Going to bring Doy Woods with him. Doy slides up, almost makes contact with the 9. That could have been a little ugly. Steve Ritter there riding behind that 9, trying to catch back up a little bit with the field. Also, Mike Kelly, Mike Montesi there, Scott Simley. The usual field of cars that have made a majority, if not all, the starts this season. All 28 races. And they have been very fun to watch. And I know the field kind of went down a little bit, obviously, throughout the season, but the racing has never fallen short of expectations. We've had a couple caution-free races throughout the season. We've had some fantastic finishes. And we've had one guy pretty much dominate throughout the season, but that did not take away the edge of the competition when it comes to the battles and the heated moments and that kind of thing. And I think we're in for another 101 laps of it here coming up this evening. That is John Higman looking inside on the 14 of Jatina as they get back single file. Everybody pretty much putting it down on the white line. There's those bumps that we talked about for a split second there with Pedro. He said you don't really feel them, which this is one of the cars that, of course, is more in the air when you look at the truck. I know the next gen car obviously is in the air a little bit too, even though the back end's not. But this car is actually more in the air than any of the cars that you see on tracks. That's why you don't really feel the bottoming out from either the splitter or the car itself. Dalton feeling that pressure from Tommy Ryan a little bit here for the lead. See Calantonio right there behind them. And Mojica up to the 4th position. Wesley Donaldson having some connection issues. Let's hope that's not hitting again. Was it Monday he lost connection? I think it was in the race. Let's go back here. Steve Ritter under attack. Mike Montesi in the 6th. As he tries to get underneath the 16. And there's Mike Kelly. Those two there have had a little history. We always got to watch the Mike and Mike show here. And I'm not talking about the ESPN morning show that used to exist. So far, so good as they work their way to turn 1. You see already lap time starting to fall off about a half second. Almost 3/4 of a second. As you got to keep those tires under. You get to at least lap 55, which is the halfway point. Get to pit road, get the new tires, and go to the finish of this race. Really a straight up strategy here tonight. Check out John Higman Jr. under attack. Chad Coleman to his inside. And Coleman making the pass for the 9th position here. Dalton continuing to lead up front here real quickly. Just checking on Tommy Ryan, seeing what kind of pressure he's putting on. Calatoni there in 3rd. Pedro right there in the 4th position. Glenn Campbell, of course, remember last week's race. The Cup side of things. Glenn Campbell and Pedro had a pretty fierce battle at Kansas. And of course, as you see, Campbell and Mojica had the same sponsors and stuff. Campbell actually is a part of the Trans-Service crew. Not exactly sure of his position or whatever what he does, but I know he helps get the partnership here in the league. So it was kind of an awkward moment with he and Pedro racing each other, but both of them were respectful of each other in the end and said, hey, you know what? Let's move on, because that was probably not the best decision from one to the other and that kind of thing. But cooler heads prevailed. And here they are, nose to tail. Go figure. As Calantoni going to lose third to Campbell. I'm sorry, it's Mojica there in front of him. There's those mixed up number colors again. So Dalton's led them all here so far into 19 laps. Check back here is Bobby Wetzel, Doy Woods, battle for 10th. You see the car's already starting to get a little free off the corner. You're going to see that more in turn 4. For some reason, turn 1 and 2, more of a straightforward type of corner. You come off, you get a little tight here through turn 2 and onto the Nellis back straightaway. But then 3 and 4, I don't know if it's because of the way you drive the entry of this track or what it is, but for some reason, it gets very free over here in this section of the track. As we see Calantoni starting to fall back. Mojica's moved to second, Ryan back to third, and now Campbell under attack, or I should say attacking. He's the Predator here. Ooh, you saw Campbell get a little loose. As Wesley getting up there across the board. Saw a lot of cars doing that during the race. Not sure if that line is there yet or if it's going to work tonight, but see Wesley getting a pretty good run, carrying the momentum off to the top side here as he goes into 1 and 2. Gonna climb it up there again, up in the 20 degrees of banking. Yeah, he got a pretty good run there through the middle. Campbell's got to get out. Very tough to slide up the track there if you're on the inside lane, and Wesley Donaldson makes the pass. So there's something potentially to look at. That outside lane showing a little momentum there with Wesley in that car, but unfortunately when you do something like that, it will eat up the tires like I just ate the pasta I had for dinner. So see Wesley climbing up again. Should get a pretty good run off the corner here with the draft. See if he goes top side. He sure does. Problem is, you see how gray the track is up there compared to how black the track is down at the bottom? That tire rubber is what needs to be up there to be able to do that without wearing out tires. And you see Donaldson makes the move. Fresher fresher pavement equals more grip, which equals more worn out tires. As Calantoni gets loose, Campbell did everything. This looks familiar. He almost did it again, but keeps it on the wheels. He did that in practice earlier and went tumbling about 5 times. Great job by Campbell to stay off him, but unfortunately, that car just comes around. Oh, he ain't done. And a tough break there for the 84. As I've always said, this track is very notorious for having very laid-back track limits when it comes to the cautions. So it's going to take literally a wreck on the track to get a caution. But let's watch here because there is no contact. I don't know if they ever touched there. And Cal and Tony was all loose. So Dalton leads at lap 27. And the reason why I said it almost happened again, I'm not going to be able to show you, I don't think, through my timing and scoring because I had to load up very late on the timing and scoring part. However, I've been in the session the whole time. So I'm going to pull this up real quickly. And I'm going to take you back to a little bit ago as I got into the room. Yeah, I'm going to do this the old school way. Sorry for pulling this up. But let's go back to Cal and Tony and his laps in practice as I got in here. I think it was somewhere right in here. Of course, he stops there. We got to find it. Give me a minute. But he pulls the same spin. Oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't it either. I think it's right here. Because I remember that wreck right there when I first tuned in. Yeah, right here. Okay, so he comes off turn, and it wasn't even that one either. But anyways, I couldn't find it. But anyways, I tried. All right, so yeah, he goes for a spin the same way he just did, literally. And he hits something in the grass, and it flipped his car over multiple times in the grass. And that time you saw his car go airborne, and he turned left to keep it down on the wheels. Smart move on his part. Up front, Pedro Mojica is taking the lead. Let's show you a replay. I definitely know where that's at. Of what took place there to get the 58 to P1. And he does it top side on Dalton. He's trying to do what Jesse Love did last night in the ARCA race at Salem. They were like, hey, man, you got to finish in this position to win the championship. He's like, hold my drink. I'm going to lead all the laps and almost lap the field. As Joe Hudson battles with Steve Ritter here. 16 on the inside, 15 outside. Battle for the 10th position as they're almost 3 wide back there. Somebody's got a very loud car outside my window. I should state my new place. I live... Well, hold on, Joe. Hold on, Joe. I live literally off I-69 in Fort Wayne. So there are times I hear cars going down the highway now. It's kind of a cool sound. Well, Joe Hudson went to say we stay green. Almost had the sound of a Mustang. There are just some cars out there you just hear and you know the sound. It's kind of like a Foghat song. You know when the guitar riff plays, you know it's Foghat, like right off the bat. I remember the Petit Le Mans. Uh-oh. Tommy Ryan forcing his winner. Glenn Campbell here for 4th. I was going to say, I remember one year the Petit Le Mans was happening, and I was at a buddy of mine's house down in Brazelton, like a couple miles from the track. You could hear the road cars out there. And there was one particular sound that I could catch every single time, and I knew which car it was, and it was the Porsche. You'd hear all these rumbling cars, all of a sudden, Porsche go by, and it's like, yep, there's the Porsche. So Campbell and Ryan putting on this fierce battle here for 4th. Joey Jatina there riding in the 6th position. Chad Coleman there behind him in 7th. Oh, Campbell getting a little free. That's what I was talking about earlier, how tough it is to carry that momentum off the corner and keep the grip under you. And that's going to give Jatina a real big run here in the turn 1 as Montesi, I believe, is making an unscheduled pit stop. Then again, it could be scheduled, I guess, if he's going to try a 2-stopper. 35 and then 35 and 70. I think that's exactly what we're getting here. Some people pitting. I just heard somebody else saying they're pitting. Trying to see who the car is that called out they were pitting. It sounded like maybe Scott Simley. And it was not. It was definitely John Higman. So Higman on pit road for 4 tires and fuel. Of course, my camera didn't change over to the pit road. There he is. As that goes on, Glenn Campbell coming to pit road here. So it's interesting. Pedro came on the mic to me and said, hey, yeah, it should be no problem doing 55 laps. And you got these guys here are cutting this race into 3s. I mean, it's the last race of the season. Why not? Try something. Four tires and fuel. Lap times have fallen off about 1.5 seconds or so at this moment. And those cars pull away. You see track temp up to 128. It's only going to get hotter. I'm curious to see if anybody else comes to pit road here. If not, this is an interesting strategy. We'll have to keep an eye on to see how it goes. As I look last time by, Montesi ran at 31:40. Leaders ran at 08 and 09, 33, 08 and 09. So right there is 1.6. We'll have to watch through the field here as these cars with the fresher tires come roaring through. And the one thing that they're going to need to hope for is that these tires don't platoon at one point. And, well, hold on, Calantoni. Again. And what I mean by that, I should say plateau, not platoon. Sorry, wrong word. But to basically get to a point where they all even out. Got baseball terms in my head here, since it's the final day of the regular season, I believe. Gerald Livingston on pit road as we see Jatina. Doing a good job painting that white line, keeping that nose just to the bottom side of Tom. He should allow him to keep a little momentum here. You know, unfortunately, I don't have the numbers, but it's amazing how much pounds of downforce you get on your nose just for that little piece of air on your, left side of your nose there. Let's go back and check on our onboard camera, our actual onboard camera, if you will. Seth Foundy, want to send him a shout out. He's done this all season long with us, or most of the season, I should say. And he's once again on board with Seth as he rides in the 11th position right now at 36. Appreciate him sending the cameras to us, giving us a cool onboard shot. As I always say, if you're interested, just send me a link. And if you need help setting it up, I know some people, I guess, that can help you get set up. I'm not that guy, unfortunately. I mean, Seth just out there riding like it's a Sunday drive, running in 11th. Rocker's not going back there, so his spotter must not be here. Got his cell phone there in front of him in case somebody calls. Never know when that'll happen. Hey, he got a little smile on his face. Is he listening to me? He's talking to somebody. There goes the fresh tires of Campbell going by. That might be something to do. Tomorrow night might not be a good idea because we're at Bristol, but maybe sometime here in the rest of the Cup Series season, I'll pull up Seth or something while he's out there driving and we can talk to him. Here comes Montesi on the field goods. I pulled that off with one other series. I forget what it was. "45 laps complete. Let's step away for a quick second. Let's hear a word from our sponsors as you are watching the finale of the Grand National Series Sim500 presented by the NC811 on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, virtually on iRacing, as we are green for 47 laps straight now to start this NC811 finale in the Grand National Series. We're 3 wide off turn 4. That was kind of scary as Doug Sigmund comes to pit road. As we watch the view from our grandstand seats here. See the mountains there in the background, and LSA Air Force Base back there also. So we are on the northeast side of Las Vegas. As Calantoni's mowing the grass again. I think he dropped the Hot Pocket. Anthony's going to want this race over with. He is having all types of issues, and now he's pitting almost in 2. As we watch a battle now for 5th, Tommy Ryan battling with Doy Woods. Montesi there with him. I'm sorry, Kelly with him. He's going to yell at me for that one later. As Calantoni comes to pit road. As we're at lap 50 now. So 5 laps should be about the halfway window. And I just heard Chad Coleman call out he is pitting. So let's watch the 38 as he's going to bring this NOS Energy Drink Camaro to pit road. Randy Oakham on pit road also. As the Iron Man of this series on pit road, 4 tires and fuel. And Coleman pulls away. Mojica leads by 1.3. As Tyler Dalton gets past, there goes Montesi by with the tires as mentioned. So, obviously presuming that the 3 you saw pit at lap 40 or so, when they came to pit road, so that would be Glenn Campbell, Mike Montesi, and John Higman. Those should be the top 3 when pit stops finish. And then the other cars will have to catch up to them, and they should pretty quickly here during this green flag run. Appreciate the viewers joining us tonight, by the way. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you coming back and acknowledging the fact that I'm not boring. And we suggest you to send some more viewers. Because I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you. All right, so coming up to lap 55 here. So now, basically, you're at the spot where everybody can come to pit road now and make it to the finish on fuel. As Wesley Donaldson, give me the first of the leaders coming in. Mike Kelly, Steve Ritter. Four tires and fuel. Oh, 91 overshoots his pit stall a little bit. That'll hurt his time. As Tyler Dalton now comes to pit road. So I assume you'll see the 58 probably next lap. Here comes the all-time pole sitter leader in this series. Not sure anybody will ever come close to him. Oh, as he overshoots his pit stall a little bit. That's the second person to do that. As Jatina's on pit road, Tommy Ryan as mentioned, Doy Woods. As Ryan overshoots his pit stall. Did they forget to put Coca-Cola down on the pits or something? What's going on here? As here comes Mojica. And he goes in easy. Easy does it sometimes. The joke behind what I just said, by the way, is you will see sometimes, if you watch a race closely, pit crews go out there with a substance. I think it's been banned, actually, this year, or at least in the last year or two. But I do know they used to go out there with, like, Coca-Cola and spray it down to get more grip on the concrete. Almost like PJ1, if you will. All right, so still waiting on Jeff Ryan, Joe Hudson, Bobby Wetzel, Brian Wortman, Scott Simley, who now comes in to the pits. And as I said earlier, that'll hand the lead to Glenn Campbell. He is actually the leader of the bunch that pitted early in this race. That's on a two-stop strategy. And as soon as the pit cycle cycles around, I will kind of clear up where everybody is on track. I will show you that the 44 is actually at the top of the back straightaway right there, next, right behind Tommy Ryan. So it shows you the separation from him to Montesi in the 6. There's the 8 of Randy Oakham, and then you see the rest of the guys there, Chad Coleman, Pedro Mojica, so about a half a straightaway. Interesting. How do you combine syrup when soda has syrup in it? Just a thought, but good call. And here's the interesting paint scheme, the Vagisil number 15 on pit road. There's got to be a joke behind this paint scheme right here. Well, that just doubles up the grip, I guess, wouldn't it? Or the stickiness. As Wetzel's in. I mean, it makes sense because I guess it doubles up the texture or whatever of the stickiness. So I can... So I guess from that standpoint it makes sense, but it's like, wait, why would you add syrup to something with syrup in it? Maybe, yeah. Which is interesting because that means it grips, and usually when something grips, it doesn't last as long. Four tires and fuel for Tommy Ryan. And he pulls away. Brian Wortman on pit road. So, all right, there's the leader, Glenn Campbell. As I mentioned, top 2 now on the two-stop strategy. The third car in that strategy was John Higman, and he has since pitted a second time already. So he kind of jumped off that wagon and went back to the what would be the one-stopper, but instead it's a two-stopper for him. As you see, Campbell, he crosses the line right now. And here comes Pedro off turn 4, so the separation about 8.6 seconds. And we can expect the 44 car probably on pit road in the next 18 laps or so. Would be lap 80. But you know what? He pitted at 36, 37. So maybe in the next 8 laps, actually, would be lap 70. In this 110 lap race, you do 40 laps to the finish. So I would say probably in the next 8 laps, you'll see the 44 and the 6 on pit road. And then from there, it's a chase. By the way, I don't know if I'm allowed to announce this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there to the viewers. The season of 2024 of the Sim500 Grand National Series has already been updated schedule-wise, and the season actually is going to move up more than before. So, of course, we've been shortening the season up to allow the football fans to watch some football this last couple seasons. That's why we've went to 28 races in 2022 and 2023. Well, in 2024, the schedule actually will start in January. And because of that, we'll be done in August, before Labor Day weekend. So look for January 7th, and yes, it will be here on the Captain Esports Network unless something weird happens. We'll be back for season number 3 on the Captain Esports Network side of the Sim500 Grand National Series on Sundays, as somebody just went blinking. So Glenn Campbell leads now by 4.9 over Pedro Mojica, just blew by Montesi for second. Tyler Dalton there in third, who just blew by Montesi for that position. There he is, and there's Wesley Donaldson going to go by for fourth. Chad Coleman give me the next one in line to catch the 6. As you see, Montesi is kind of slid up there in the middle lane. Of course, the Cup Series will still be racing tomorrow night and the next 8 Mondays, minus the holidays. Of course, as we go to Bristol tomorrow night. In the Cup Series, so looking forward to seeing you guys at 8:15 tomorrow evening from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. So you're asking me that question. I know you're trying to get the answer that everybody would want out of me. And, of course, you would think it's Pedro because he's going to win, you know, between 10 to 15 races this season. And that would be the obvious answer. But let me give you an answer to somebody that maybe wasn't so much on the radar, that has put himself on the radar here the last few months. And that would be that 44 car that's leading this race, Glenn Campbell. To answer your question, Casey. And I say that because of how well he has driven this car. I mean, he almost won last week at Kansas in the Cup side. And here he is now leading again, doing a different strategy. But you know what? He's up front every week now. And he's up here competing. He's racing hard. And he's doing a good job. So, to answer your question, I'm going to go with the 44. Seth Foudy inside of Ritter. This is back at the 8th position. Believe it or not, with a round of green flag pit stops and everything, it's still only 9 seconds behind the leader. Kind of crazy. Everybody comes to pit road, and we're still within 10 seconds from the lead back to 10th as Mojica inside of his twin car. Into the front he goes with 39 to go. As I mentioned, right at 40 to go, here comes Higman. Here comes Montesi to pit road. I thought Higman was already bailed out on his strategy, but here he comes now. So he must have already been blown by a bunch of the guys on the fresher tires. So the only person we're waiting on now will be the Glenn Campbell car. I was like, who's the other car? All right, there goes Montesi, 4 tires and fuel. One of the main reasons I like that strategy is because you're on the offensive. And when you get out there and you have tires that are better than everyone else, it almost puts a different mindset in your mind to know that you are the fastest car out there. And no one's going to catch you to like pass you or whatever. It kind of gives you that weird, like almost a confidence, if you will. As Coleman and Kelly back here battling for the 5th spot. As there goes the 2 going by. For those who don't know, I'm working on a podcast potentially. There's a lot of little kinks that I'm trying to work out in it, okay? The first of the main kinks is the time I have to record it. And that is because guess what day I have off that everybody usually works on? Tomorrow. Monday. Problem, because everybody works on Monday. So we're working on it. And obviously when I do decide to do this podcast, it will be everybody involved. So it'll be all the leagues and drivers and stuff like that. So there you go. What? You talking about the musical group, Case? So Campbell trying to hold off Tyler Dalton here for second. And move the 19 up to second. As Wesley trying to get up there with the 44. As Campbell's doing a good job of maintaining speed with that older set of tires. And I'm surprised he has not come to pit road yet. My guess is he's trying to find that balance of the fall off of these cars to where he can go get tires and try to be as fast as possible. Almost like to maximize the amount of time he'll make up. So that's going to be an interesting play here in just a moment as we watch Dory Woods and Joey Jatina battle for 9th. 32 laps to go here at the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the final race of the Sim500 NC811 Grand National Series. Big shout out to Ann and those great people at 811 for what they do. And of course, being a part of this series for the 2nd season. Also being a part of the Cup Series. There you see Wesley going by for the 3rd spot. All right, expect Glenn Campbell this time by. So he's going to have about 30 laps to go get what he can get. Oh, he overshoots his pits. That's like the 5th car to do this already tonight. In the world. Did they forget the pit practice? It's like everybody's Casey Carrington tonight. As Doy and Joey continue to go at it here for 8th. You see Joey sliding that nose, trying to get that run on the 28 car, just too tight. Here's Jeff Ryan, one of the 811 cars, as he gets to the back of the 12 with Scott Simley. And the battle for the 11th position. Of course, Pedro Mojica leading by 3.5 right now over Tyler Dalton, Wesley Donaldson, Mike Kelly, and Chad Coleman. So Campbell's about a lap and a half down, unfortunately. So he's got a lot of time to make up here in 26 laps. And right now, he just ran a 31.31, 32.65 from the leaders. So 1.3 in about 25 laps. Might get back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, that might be about it. There's Steve Ritter in the 16 car here, leading Doy Woods by about 0.2 of a second. 7th position here. Seth Foudy up there in his 6th position doing a good job, as Doy was one of those cars I saw in practice, at least when I was first getting in the room. He was right up there against that wall, just making laps, trying to get that rhythm of the top side, and he's going to use it here to get around Steve Ritter. And just like that, the battle for 7th moves on and goes to Doy Woods here. So I want to take you back. It was roughly 18 months ago, as we were kicking off our first Sunday series of the Grand National Series. And if you remember that time period, if you were watching, it was the Daniel Falkingham show, pretty much, as he was winning almost everything that he could, and Pedro Mojica was finishing 2nd in that race, in all those races. Then came May 15th, a race at Nashville Super Speedway, and this is May 15th, 2022. In that race, Pedro Mojica put all the pressure on Daniel and finally got himself to victory lane. And from that point forward, this is not a made-up number when I tell you this, as I literally am sitting here counting the amount of wins he has since that race, because that race pretty much won him the championship, or at least gave him the momentum to go win the championship. And then he's pretty much carried that time into this series. He has won 21 races since that race in May of 2022. So about 18, not even 18 months. It's what, 15 months? May, let's see, we're in September now. So yeah, October would be 18 months from April. So yeah, so not even 16 months. He's won 21 times in this series and is 19 laps away from winning his back-to-back championship. And, oh, by the way, I will take zero credit when I say this. He has never lost a championship on Sunday when Captain Esports Network broadcast. That's not made up. Steve Ritter not letting Doy Woods go here as he's going to try to fight him as they both try to catch South Fowdy up there for 6th. Jatina trying to get a part of that battle also here. Joey up there running second groove, about the 19 degrees of banking area. Then he puts a rate down on that white line. A lot of people say that turn 3 and 4 at Vegas almost drives like Atlanta, the old Atlanta, where you kind of drive straight into 3 and 4. Where here in turn 1 and 2, you got to arc it. Doug Sigmund back there with a little bit fresher tires. So I want to go back to about 10 laps ago. And apparently we had a largy bargy right here. Yo, that was close. All right, if that's what they were kind of saying something about, there wasn't too much there, if any. So 15 to go is, again, Doy and Ritter trying to get up to Fowdy. Jatina's got his fishing reel out there trying to just hold on. Oh, and he gets the outside wall. That'll do him in. Just driving it too hard off the corner, and that car just slid like it usually does over that turn 2 area. Ritter just looks like getting a little bit closer and closer. So 12 laps to go. Just checking on Campbell. He is actually right behind the leader. Or I should say right behind second place. So he is still a lap down after pitting almost 15 laps ago. So obviously the two-stop strategy does not work in favor of the 44 and the 6 tonight, unfortunately. But, hey, try something different. Why not? As the battle of the 15 and the 9 for the 13th spot now. Side by side they go. Joe trying pretty hard down there on that bottom side. Gets a good run through 3 and 4 here. Let's see if he can finish him in turn 1. Got to enter a little shallow and put that thing right down the white line. And it looks like Wetzel got a little tight there, center. And that allows the 15 to go by. And here comes Montesi on the fresher tires. He'll probably blow by the both of those guys. Meanwhile, these two still going at it, and Foudy about caught the wall. No pressure, Seth, as we watch. Curious who he's talking to. Is he talking to himself, or is he talking to somebody, or I can see his mouth moving. Ooh, he got tight there. You can hear it get out of the throttle. Checks over to the right side, checking his relative to see where the 28 is. That time he brought it back to the bottom. You see him getting tight, kind of sliding. Almost driving the car up the track, walking it, if you will, walking the dog. I think he just said, "Oh, come on." I think he's actually like kind of telling his car, "Come on, turn. Let's go, Nancy." Seems to be doing pretty well in 3 and 4. It's right here is where he's struggling. Center off of 2. They go around Calantoni. He actually real good corner there. So Calantoni, unfortunately, having a bad night back to pit road. He's had numerous field trips through the infield. In this race is Mojica. Now with 3 laps to go. I figured it's some kind of joke to something, Trevor. Because like you don't see that usually on Joe's cars or any cars. There has to be something to it. But yeah, that's a good point though. Maybe that's what the paint scheme is, and it's just totally over my head. I'm sure Joe will tell me after the race. So Pedro Mojica bringing it through 3 and 4. Going to see the white flag. And the final lap of the 2023 season is right here in front of him. 1.5 miles to go. Couple of stats here for you. He's going to be one of 2 drivers to complete over 3,000 laps this season. 22 top 10s, 21 top 5s, and wins half of the races in the 2023 season, capped off by being back-to-back Grand National Series champions. Pedro Mojica has done it in 2023. Dalton will finish second. Mike Kelly finishing third. Wesley Donaldson fourth, and Seth Foudy holds off Doy Woods for fifth. Finishes it with a boom. As we show you the final results here. From Vegas, if they let me show it. It's giving me a hard time here. There we go. Mojica wins it by 5.7 seconds. Another caution-free race, by the way, this year. Mike Kelly finishes third. Wesley Donaldson fourth. And Seth Foudy finishes fifth. Doy Woods sixth. Chad Coleman will end up second in points. Will finish seventh. Joey Jatina eighth. Steve Ritter ninth. And Tommy Ryan ends up in 10th. Scott Simley. Jeff Ryan finishes 12th. Joe Hudson, Mike Montesi, and Glenn Campbell, your top 15, with Bobby Wetzel and Brian Wortman finishing 16th and 17th. Randy Oakham finishing in the 18th position. 19th going to Doug Sigmund, Anthony Calantoni 20th, John Higman Jr. 21st, Gerald Livingston 22nd, and Josh Nortonton and George Rincon apparently are doing a remake of the Hangover movie right now somewhere. They did not show up for the race. What a season, and what a race it was, and lo and behold, Mike Kelly would sneak his way up there to a third-place finish after starting 15th tonight in a caution-free race. I think it kind of shows the kind of car that Mike had this evening as he snuck his way up there, I will say, just quietly, up to a third-place finish. Mike, obviously, showing the kind of car you had to be able to do that in a 110-lap green flag race.
Yeah, Stealth Kelly, they call me. Just came in for some fun, hang out with the guys on the last night. Nothing on the line, so started, well, I mean, I didn't qualify. I started 16th, not quite the back. But just told myself and the guys before the race started that I was going to, because I'm the one who always burns up the tires and all that and pits first. So I decided I was going to run nice and easy. And I love loose setups, and it was a great setup. If every setup could feel like that for me, I'd be dangerous. But it was a lot of fun. It was a double strategy where you had to try to do the one stopper and not blow up the right front tire. Scotty blew a right front there right before he pitted on, and I was wow, I don't know where that came
That
over.
was random.
Yeah, you heard that too, huh?
I heard it through your headset.
I don't know how that works.
Somebody usually hits the button and talks.
Anyway, I don't know how to.
I hear Chad Coleman in the background. Quiet down, Chad.
Let's see if that helps. I exited from the game there in a panic. So where
God
was
knows
I?
what he was saying.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't want to let that go over the air. So no, it was a really fun race, and to go from 16th to 3rd when you really couldn't pass,
Right.
and to have to save the tires and run the fuel strategy, it might have been kind of boring to watch, but it was a very fun race and challenging race.
Yeah, I was going to say, since you tried to Josh Parker strategy apparently there, but nonetheless, man, yeah, I mean, obviously the racing, it seemed like the bottom was the dominant lane, but you were able to, if you needed to, jump up a little bit, middle, even top side if you needed to make a pass.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I hung on the bottom, but the few times I had to go up there, if you wanted to fight somebody, and it was pretty even. I think it was harder on the tires, probably, and but it could be done. I mean, you could run two grooves. It was just better on the bottom, and everyone was running so close, unless they made a mistake. It was hard to get your nose up under them. So, that's the way it is sometimes, and that's a challenging race as well.
It was a challenging race, and of course you did your part to get a top 3. And as I go back and review, because obviously February is a very long time from here, from this past season, you went to Daytona Victory Lane in this series to kick this thing off back on February 5th. So obviously you were the first one to go to Victory Lane this season. To sit here now in October as the season ends, and to know you got that Daytona win's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good season overall. I was at the top of the points all year long, and although Pedro dominated, I was right there and probably one of the best cars every week, and just unfortunately had to go out of town during the chase. Couldn't recover from that, but ran well all season, and looking forward to next year.
All right, my man. Well, send some shout outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, shout out to you, Chris. Great job all year long, and enjoy watching every Captain Esports Network broadcast. Thanks to all the sponsors. Trans Service for tonight with Glenn. He's running great. Most improved driver for sure. Proud to have him as a sponsor. Trans Service, great sponsor for Sim500 NC811. Call before you dig. They've been a great sponsor for me and the series. So proud to have those guys on board for the Premier Leagues. And thanks to all the admins and all the other sponsors at Sim500 and Goat Racing. Shout out to Turn 1 Heroes. Great time every week racing, almost every night racing with those guys. And of course, thanks to the Smoking Hot Wife.
All right, so can we verify really quickly why you actually enjoy watching the broadcast?
Oh, it's just a lot of fun seeing how the races play out. It's always a different perspective, and you, unlike a lot of broadcasters, do a good job with explaining what's going on in the race and how many pit stops are running and all that good data. So keep all the viewers informed really well during the broadcast, and they're good, entertaining broadcasts to watch for sure. Almost like watching the real thing.
He's covering up the answer. What he's really doing is he's watching me for when I screw up. He sends me a message, and I'm waiting for the one tonight I'm going to get for what I did earlier. So,
well, that's not true, and even if I did, I'd never admit it. But they're Vikings.
Oh, man, you're awesome. All right, man. Well, hey, obviously great job tonight. Congratulations. Let's see, you finished 12th in points. So, hey, still a good season. And, hey, you get to go to Bristol tomorrow night. So,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We'll see you then, man. Have a great night.
You too, buddy.
Yeah.
Mike Kelly finishes in the 3rd position here tonight. Good guy. And, yeah, he'll, I forget what he got me with last week. But what'd you say to me last week? I was so damn tired.
Oh, that I'm not from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, he's from somewhere in the great. He's somewhere up there in the Midwest.
Somewhere in those Great Plains.
Oh, somewhere between a rock and a hard place. All right, Mike Kelly finishes in third tonight, and that's where note to self: don't say where Mike's from anymore.
Yeah, just skip where I'm from. Say he's from the Midwestern driver.
North
Yeah,
Dakota. Yeah, there we go. Done.
that's Scotty.
Oh, he's in North Dakota. I never knew that. All
Yep,
right.
Fargo boy.
Fargo. Oh boy,
Yep,
I've heard
yep.
interesting things about that movie. Anyways, all right, let's move
Thanks,
on.
Chris.
You too, buddy. As I did not know Scott Simley was up there. All right, let's talk to our second place finisher, that being Tyler Dalton. Tyler finishes second in the race, finishes fourth overall in points. And Tyler, obviously, nothing you could do tonight. As I overheard you say there at the end, it's like, man, I don't understand how you got away so quick. But just one of those races where you finish second to Pedro again.
Yeah, I like to say, maybe a little something here, a little something there, and I had something for him, but nah. We pretty much put a butt whooping on everybody else, about the same amount that he put on us, but I felt like I was driving it really good. Felt like I was saving my tires really good, especially that second run. Felt really good with my tire wear. And I can't figure out how Pedro was able to start the run as fast as he was and not wear the tires out. But I guess there's a reason why he's won 14 this season and no one else has won more than 2.
Yeah, and you were one of those people that won two, and you could say that maybe this year was a career year. We'll put that in air quotes, obviously, for you, because obviously you got your first 2 wins in this car, in this series, which you had not gotten a premier win, for what I remember, until those 2 wins there. So to be able to knock that off your bucket list, to have all the poles you've had so far this season, that continues that number that probably will never get touched by anybody. And to finish fourth in points, would you say this is your best year yet?
Oh yeah, definitely in this series. I was never really ran full time much in this series until recently, so really I hadn't had much experience in this car in general. And sometimes a year I felt really comfortable in it, and other times I felt really out to lunch. But like I said, felt really good tonight. Felt like if it wouldn't been for the pit road deal at Indy, we could have finished second in points. That cost us about 16 points. That would have been the difference between second and fourth, but didn't have anything for Pedro. He was, like I said, he's on a pedestal of his own there. Then you got everybody else. He's really talented, got really good at equipment, and you put those 2 things together, and it's freaking hard to beat.
Yeah, he definitely did his part, but so did you. Obviously, you had your ups and downs, but you finished fourth in points in what was a fantastic season for you, and that was definitely awesome to watch him be a part of, and to throw another compliment in there. If you ever have an opportunity to race with Tyler, this guy is not afraid to open the curtain, so to say, on giving you help with things like that. I mean, I've run in a couple of other series on super speedways and just listen to what he says about certain tracks and how you run them in certain cars. And I mean, he's actually got me a couple poles this week at Talladega, so I owe you one for the poles on the official side of things this week, I should say. So great job on that, and great job on the season, and send some shout outs.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I'm always willing to help out anyone that will listen. Hopefully get that back in return. So just want to send some shout outs to all the Sim500 Mafia guys. All's great run for me and Wesley both tonight. Nice top 4 for him. Good run for Joey, and we'll thank all the admins here. I know we all put in a lot of work to make sure everything goes off smoothly. And thank you for putting this on each week. Broadcasts are always fun to go back and watch afterwards.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
P2 for Tyler Dalton, fourth in points overall on the season. So congratulations to him on his, as he called it, career year here at Sim500 in the Grand National Series. One thing's for sure, he will continue to win poles by the day. Don't be surprised he wins again another pole tomorrow night. All right, let's talk with, we'll get Pedro here in a second. I want to talk to the second place points guy. And maybe we'll talk to the third place points guy also, too, as he probably doesn't think I'm going to pull him up here. But surprise, Chad Coleman. is up here in the booth with us, and now we actually get to hear what Chad said. We overheard you. Me and Mike were talking. We're like, is that Chad's voice I'm hearing in the background? But needless to say, man, a top 3 points finish. I know you wanted to be a little bit closer to your teammate there, but got to be a good season for you.
Yeah, it was. We had good runs to start, and then I changed equipment and was not good in the middle. And then at the end right there, kind of starting to figure some more stuff out. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't transfer over to the direct drive stuff as well as Pedro did. Pedro had a couple laps with them at work and stuff, and for me, it felt like the learning curve was steeper, and I'm still figuring out stuff with it. I mean, no excuses. It's just that's honestly what I feel. But yeah, Pedro's good. He's hard to beat. He always has been.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for certain. I mean, for somebody that's transitioning over to a different style of equipment, I mean, you had the second most top 10s, the second most top 5s. Let me look at incident points there. I mean, you're up near the top. I mean, nobody's going to touch Wortman in that category. But needless to say, the numbers show, I mean, obviously you had a fantastic season for what you are sitting here saying that you had to kind of go up against.
Yeah. And then you look at Pedro's stats, and I think he won, 16 races?
14.
Yeah. I knew it was a big number.
He definitely had more wins than anybody else had top 5s.
I had a chance to probably win 4 or 5 this year and stepped on it in a certain way a couple of times. And then other times I wouldn't know better than 5th or 6th. And tonight we was going to ride to an easy 5th place finish, and I ran out of gas off 4.
Oh, no, fuel guy's fired. But needless to say, man, still great season for you, finishing 30 back there in second. And congratulations, and send some shout-outs.
Yeah, just thank Joey and everybody with the league, and 811 and all those guys. And thanks, Trey, for painting this car. Like I've said, this car was painted a couple of years ago now. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find something else to drive, or we'll get him to update this one, or do something. But we'll do something with that. So just thank him for the paints, like always, and thank you for broadcasting, and thank Joey for putting up with our shit, and thank us for putting up with Joey's shit. And we'll try this again whenever it restarts.
All right, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow night at Bristol. How about that?
Yeah, that should be a blast.
There's a second sarcasm of the night. Great job, man. As Chad
Thanks,
Coleman,
Drew.
yeah, you bet. Chad Coleman finishes second in points overall, and ended up doing a pretty good job getting him down to his team name channel there. There he goes. And let's grab Doy real quick before I bring the champion up here, and we'll talk to Doy. Finishes third officially in the points tonight. Probably didn't expect me to bring him up here. Hello, Doy. Welcome to the booth. A top 6 finish for you tonight, finishing 6th, but thanks to Stefan not being here tonight, a 3rd place points finish for you.
Yeah, well, I had to, make something happen. I told him that he didn't need to show up,
That'll do it.
and it worked out, and overachieved to finish 3rd. Definitely didn't get a win this year, but came close a few times. Just didn't have the speed that Mr. Pedro had this year. He definitely had us covered. But to finish 3rd, looking back on it and see that I'm 3rd in points behind those 2 catfishes that was in front of me, that's got to be a win for me, so I'll take it.
Absolutely, man. Obviously, the race itself tonight, you had a couple of good battles. You and Joey fought for a little bit, and then you got up there with Seth there battling for 5th, and we're trying everything. You were trying every lane you could think of.
Yeah, I think I might have could have pressed it, but man, like if you press it, get the tires hot, and I knew Seth wasn't gonna give it up easy, so it was just like, man, I'm comfortable right here. I'm not saying I could have got him, but I know I'd have had to work really hard, and I didn't want to have to work that hard and ruin a good finish, because it might have turned into a boxing match, because him and I raced each other hard, and that's good, but I just wasn't up for the challenge tonight.
Well, obviously, you did a great job, and congratulations to Seth is in chat saying, woohoo, Doy Woods fan here. Great job tonight, and send some shout-outs, man, on your finished and your 3rd place points finish.
Yeah, man, I like to thank Joey. You know, I give Joey Katina hell sometimes, but he puts on a great product and makes everybody, you know, come together. It's hard to get everybody to get along and come together like a platoon and go out there and handle business, you know. So he does a really good job of that. And, you know, all the guys that I roll with, Pedro, of course, #1 stunner, and along with Chad, you know, big time, and #1 Georgia Bulldog fan. You know what he says goes over there in Georgia Bulldog land, I tell you. But all the guys back at the shop, and you know, they make it happen, and we can't. This won't happen without a group effort, and it means a lot to still be out here doing this. It really does, and thanks to everybody.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations on your top 3 points finish, and we'll see you tomorrow night at Bristol.
Yes, sir.
That is Doy Woods' top 3 finish for him in the points, 6th place finish overall in the race this evening. All right, it is that time as we'll move Doy down to you. He moved himself. As we get our champion up here, he's probably like, when are you going to bring me up here? Figured I would just take as long as possible just to irritate him. I'm just kidding. Pedro joins us, man, as you went out there and put a whooping on the field and leading the most laps here tonight. One of 2 drivers, Doy Woods being the other, I forgot to mention that to him, to finish 3,000 laps this season on your way to winning the 2nd straight Grand National Series Championship.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Oh my God, it feels great, man. It feels really awesome to pull this off. Had such a dominating season, so with how everything went this year, I was really, I just had to close it off. So yeah, just tonight was just a prime example of just how our season went. Had good pace on the short run, good pace on the middle of the run, and good pace on the long run, and we were able to make our way to the front and just drive away from the guys, have a solid pit stop, and yeah, and then pretty much put it on cruise there. So that felt like it was pretty much encompassed most of our year this year on the Xfinity side. So it just feels great, man. It's awesome to win a championship. There's so people can say it looks easy or I make it look easy or whatever, but there's so many things that have to go right for you in order to win these things, win a race, let alone win a championship. So just super grateful to be able to win again back to back in the Premier Sunday Series. And honestly, I think so far since you've started broadcasting at Sim500, starting on Sundays on that Super Speedway Series, I've won every championship on Sundays. So I think that's 4 in a row on Sunday nights between Winter and Premier Series.
That is true. I totally forgot about the one Winter Series. I know about the Super Speedway one, but forgot about the winter this past winter. So, yeah, that's a very solid point. So, well, man, obviously it shows the kind of talent you had. I mean, I was counting, and I might have gotten a number off by 1 or 2, but I mean, I go back to that Nashville race last season, and that was where you kept finishing 2nd to Daniel, and I could just hear your voice like, man, I'm gonna beat him one of these days. I'm gonna get him, and finally you got him at Nashville. It seemed like that set it forward, and basically from there, I think I counted now tonight 22 wins from that point to now.
Yeah, I think it's 20 or 23. I
22,
think
23, somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah, as I think because Nashville was the first win for me. I think on the Sunday Premier Series, I believe. So, but yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can blame Daniel for myself, I guess, because he pushed me to the limit, last year, and running with him, I learned a lot, kind of running around him and running with him and racing with him and talking with him, so learned quite a bit just racing with the guy. And like you said, I think halfway through last year, I don't know what changed, but like, just we got that win and it's like the floodgates opened, right? So and it carried on into this year, thankfully for myself. But I mean, I love this car though. This car is probably the hardest car to drive on the oval side in iRacing right now. And I feel like you can still separate people, talents level with this car. So I enjoy it. I have a blast running this car a lot of the time. Setups are typically challenging to drive, and just the way we have the server set up with the track being so hot, it definitely makes this one of the hardest challenging series to run at Sim500.
Well, great job this season, man. Congratulations, and you definitely earned this one, winning half the races, and just putting on a show as always. And now you get to go try to win the Cup Series, and of course you're got a pretty good start on that side of things. But you go to Bristol tomorrow night too, so let's celebrate this one before we go there, and send some shout outs whoever you like to.
Yeah, no, for sure, Chris. We're definitely going to enjoy this one, man. Enjoy this one. Soak it all in. But yeah, no, I appreciate you, Chris, and Captain Esports for putting on the broadcast for every race this Sunday, man. You do such a great job. So appreciate you spending your time showing the world what Sim500 is all about. Glenn Campbell, Trans Service, I appreciate him and his deal for jumping on board and let me represent his company out there. I'm happy that I'm able to run up front and win races and show Trans Service off a lot. So I appreciate Glenn. He helped sponsor me in the Cup Series and whatnot. So yeah, again, appreciate him. And appreciate Tyler Dalton for painting the car, so I had something slick to run with this year. All the admins at Sim500, especially Joey, they do such a great job, and they're really patient with a lot of us. Sometimes we don't have great days, and sometimes Joey's kind of that calming person behind you that says, hey, in the end, what are we doing here? So gotta look at the bigger picture of life, so whatnot. So yeah, I appreciate them, all the admins, appreciate them, Sim500. All the guys on Team Name, appreciate them. Had a lot of fun racing with them this year. Congrats, I think we swept the top 3 in points with Doy and Chad, so we had a good season overall as a group. So appreciate them. And then yeah, I just appreciate my family for letting me come and hang out on these Sunday nights for a couple hours at a time and have some fun and come home with a championship.
Well, great job, man. Congratulations, well earned, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, yeah. Hopefully we'll be back in here tomorrow night. But we'll see. Bristol's
it's a monster.
I don't know. It's definitely a battle. So yeah, we'll just be looking to survive there tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job.
No, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks. We're gonna go celebrate this one.
Sounds good, man. Be safe. Pedro Mojica, your 2023 NC811 Grand National Series champion, back-to-back champion for 2022 and 2023. So he'll be going for a three-peat come 2024 if he chooses. And we'll try to go get another one tomorrow night at Bristol on the Cup side of things. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up here from Vegas as we have crowned our champion. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier tonight, I kind of teased it a little bit. January 7th was the date, I believe, now that I've lost the date in my head. It's in January. That first week of January, the first full week, that Sunday will be the opener for the 2024 season. This moves everything up to allow us to finish in August for the season, obviously, which will be prior to football season kicking off and stuff. So looking forward to being a part of the third season on our end of the Grand National season. Obviously, hopefully we'll have 811 on board and stuff again, but we appreciate what Ann and everyone from 811 and the NC811.org group do. Not only them, but also, obviously all the 811s around the United States. Appreciate all their hard work and stuff, and obviously being a part of this series and what they do with racing. I've seen them obviously on a couple of cars in actual racing this season, so that's been kind of cool to see, and looking forward to their future. So hopefully we'll see them back here next season as we go January 7th. So I was correct. That'll be the first race of the season back at Daytona, ready to kick off the 2024 campaign. So that'll be on Sunday. But, of course, we got tomorrow night. We'll be at Bristol, I should say, for the Cup Series presented by 811. So we'll see you then. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.